What is going on, everyone? I'm going to go through a quick overview as well as a review, maybe add in some cutting videos so you can see it in action of the Vero AXON Mini. This one has the Damascus backspacer as well as clip. And it's the first Vero I've bought in about a year. For no reason other than the fact that I'm trying to save money and was trying not to buy additional variations of a same knife, and Vero does a great job of providing a good number of models, even with left-handed knives, which I have to really compliment them on. They've done a really good job of that. So in any case, again, this is the Vero AXON Mini, which I'm sure everyone is very familiar with. I am a lefty, and this one is not a lefty, so it is a little bit difficult to open this way, but again, can't complain because they do provide both types of knives. In any case, though, this is a beautiful knife. Just to go over the specs real quick, I'll get you a closer look here. Look at the Damascus. It really does make the knife pop. I love the way that looks. In any case, this one here, the overall length is 6.5 inches. You got a blade steel of M390 with the blade length of 2.83 inches. I think the actual cutting edge is maybe 2.6 if I remember correctly. The weight is only 2.7 ounces, so it's a light knife, and it's very comfortable. The ergonomics are great. I think the width of the actual knife itself is somewhere around 0.65, I think they said. And I really, really love this knife. Not only does it feel great in the hand, like I said, with the Damascus set, it just makes it that much better. I've done everything in my power. I've used every ounce of willpower not to go back and get the blacked out version, the DLC version that's calling my name. If you go to their site and you look at the AXON Mini with the Damascus set and you see the blacked out version, for the love of God, it's taken everything for me not to go and buy that knife. They've done a great job with this knife. A lot of front flippers, and I'm not saying that this is a significant thing, but a lot of front flippers to me almost feels like sometimes it's just the tiniest bit off where it's very difficult to get a full rollout, but this one is dialed in, man. It really pops and it feels great when you open up the knife. I love the fact that the backspacer goes almost 3/4 of the way up. I love that look. It really looks nice. And like I said, you know, because I'm a lefty and it's a frame lock, obviously it's a bit difficult to open it like this, but they do have lefty models, so it's not their fault. I just, again, don't want to spend money to have a few different models of this knife. In any case, love this knife. Deployment's incredibly smooth. Ergonomics are great. You know, it's surprising the littlest things in design make the biggest difference, because I can't even pinpoint why, but the ergonomics on this knife, it just feels so comfortable, almost melts into your hand. And I don't have, by the way, I don't have a huge Vero collection. I'm going to bring out what I do have. I have a Synapse XL, which I don't know if this is actually going to fit in frame. We'll find out. I have a couple of Axons. This one is actually a lefty AXON, as well as the old school red G10. I have the Neuron, and obviously the AXON Mini. So, I mean, it's not a huge collection, but that's a good comparison here. I'm sure everyone is already very familiar with the size of these knives, but just to get it on camera for anyone that isn't overly familiar with Vero. And here's the thing that's incredible about Vero that I think is common sense to everyone, but no one actually discusses it. When it comes to the AXON, and now with any number of different models they have, I mean, with the smallest differences of a sheep foot, come up with what I see as one of the most unique blade shapes that I don't know of anyone else that automatically would know, you know, it's a Vero. I mean, this is so distinguished now at this point. It's pretty impressive, man. And, you know, it's so effective, too. It's a great blade shape, feels great in the hand. I've had no issues with any of their knives, really. And the edge geometry, I don't know if I had mentioned this before, but the width behind the blade on this one it's actually 0.12. It's a super slicey knife. And I am going to edit in some cutting so that you guys can take a look at it. Again, I know everyone's familiar with Vero. I'm just wanting to give you guys my take on it. I think it's well worth the money. Whichever model you're going to get, I think it's well worth the money because the quality is there. You know, every single company that I've worked with, or any knives of any designer or any company that I have, There's always going to be those few people that want to say something negative about them. And if it's based on in reality and it's their experience, okay, fine. But you really need to feel one of their knives in your hand, because I'm telling you, the design work is beautiful. And they really do offer, see, as a lefty, I shouldn't try doing that unless I have a lefty knife. It really is a fantastic knife. I really, oh, by the way, I haven't met Joseph and I haven't met Michelle either, but they've been super nice to me on Instagram. Or I should say at least very, very kind with their comments when I post a new photo set of one of their knives. But everything I've heard about them has been positive. And by the way, this is also after the fact that on Messenger and Instagram, back in the day, being like a few years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I was one of those bitter people that couldn't find a knife, a Vero knife. I was pissed off at any one of their drops, and I took it out on Joseph, and he basically took it in stride. And so that says something about someone to me. If someone's getting yelled at, and I'm sure he was by more than a few people, and he's just sort of taking it in stride and doing his thing, that's a sign of a patient man, a good man, and someone that I know has only gotten positive comments of anyone that's met him. So I always like to tell people that I feel strongly that the people behind the design and the company also need to be just basically as solid as the design of the knife. Otherwise, I really don't want to spend my hard-earned money with them. And this is no exception to that rule. I've heard nothing but great things. But back to the knife. Again, beautiful Damascus set. Beautiful frame lock knife. And hey, they have every, they have every variation under the sun. So you guys should definitely check out one of their knives if you haven't already. This is definitely one of the knives that you should have in your collection. Not necessarily the AXON Mini, but any one of their knives. I can't highly recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. But listen, I really appreciate everyone coming back and taking a look at the review. I'm going to have a few more coming up this week. I have some big plans that I'm hoping to have come to fruition over the next couple of months if I can get enough subscribers. So please do try to spread the word if you do enjoy the reviews. And yeah, thanks again.